Hi, I'm Lauren, and if you've not seen my channel before, I like to talk all things books, so reading vlogs, in-depth reviews. And today we are going to discuss the Cerulean Chronicles by TJ Klune. So book 1, The House in the Cerulean Sea, and book 2, Somewhere Beyond the Sea. So before we get into the book discussions, or rather the discussions about these novels, I will just say I am aware that TJ Klune is not an author for everyone, and he ranks on some people's lists of problematic authors. If you are not interested in TJ Klune books and you do not want to consume content about TJ Klune, then feel free to click off this video. I am just here to talk about these two books and whether I enjoyed them or not. This is not the video for discussing problematic authors. There are very many of them out there, very many who are popular on BookTube and on BookTok, and this is really not the place for that discussion, so I'm quite happy for you to click off the video. But yeah, let's get into it. Right, the Cerulean Chronicles, 2 books. The House in the Cerulean Sea, I believe, I will just double check this. Right, so The House in the Cerulean Sea paperback came out in 2021. I only read it the other week. Very late to the game, I know. However, it was a book that I was seeing quite a lot on BookTok, to be honest, and then like really bizarrely my mum, who is also a big reader, said that she was going to read The House in the Cerulean Sea. It was actually a reread for her. She read the book when it first came out, so this was her second time reading it. I was like, do you know what? It's a sign. I am seeing it all over BookTok, and now my mum's reading it. I'm going to go in and read it as well, see what all the fuss is about. I knew very little about the book when I started it, so I sort of went in blind. And I don't know why, but I've sort of got it down as a book that wouldn't be for me, and I don't know where that assumption came from, but yeah. However, it very quickly became apparent that this was the easiest 5 stars that I would give to a book. If I could rank this as a 6-star read, I would. It was quite easily one of the best books that I've read this year. It made me laugh. It made me cry. Like, it made me cry a lot, I'm going to be honest. There was lots of snot and tears during this book. I chose not to do a reading vlog for it because I'll be honest, I didn't think the book could be that good, and I do kind of regret not doing a reading vlog. However, no one really needed to see me ugly cry on YouTube, so maybe it was a good thing that I did not do a reading vlog for it. But I absolutely adored it. The book was pretty much perfect in every way possible for me. The entire cast of characters was so well written. I just fell in love with them all. I think hands down my favourite had to be Lucy. So just super quick, like synopsis type thing, if you have not read The House in the Cerulean Sea, it focuses on a magical orphanage on an island, and there is a department for like magical youth, and people go to these orphanages, humans go to these orphanages to inspect them and make sure that they are fit for purpose and if they can stay open. There's a lot more to it than that. It runs a lot deeper than that, but that's just the basics. So one of these inspectors goes out to this orphanage where 6 of supposedly the most dangerous and powerful children in the world are housed, and basically his entire life is turned upside down, and it's just one of the sweetest books that I have ever read. I was in absolute emotional bits at several points in this book, and I think the best way I could describe it is that it ripped my heart out and then pieced it back together in the most beautiful way possible. Like, it has to rank as one of the best books that I've ever read, without a doubt. I read it on my Kindle, but I definitely will be buying a physical copy of the book, and very, very rare for me, I will go back and reread it. I am not a big rereader of books at all, but I will definitely go back and reread this book because I cannot express how much I loved it, like genuinely loved it. However, because I loved it so much, I was like, right, I need the second one. So Somewhere Beyond the Sea is the sequel to The House in the Cerulean Sea. Somewhere Beyond the Sea was released this year. So off I went, got it on my Kindle. I was like super excited to dive into this. Finished The House in the Cerulean Sea, went straight on to Somewhere Beyond the Sea. Now, it is a direct continuation of the story. So despite the fact that in real life 4 years have passed between these two books, that's not the case in the novels. It is a direct continuation, so pretty much where Cerulean Sea left off, this book picks up. And I just could not wait to revisit these characters. I was expecting another emotional roller coaster, and when I tell you that is the biggest disappointment I have ever read, like, I feel really bad for saying it, but it was a bad book. Whereas The House in the Cerulean Sea was a 6-star read for me, this scraped 2 stars, and I'll be honest, that was probably generous. Again, me and my mum buddy read this one, and I was like, is it me? Am I just not vibing with this for some reason? And then me and my mum got talking about it, and she felt exactly the same way. So it wasn't just me. Me and my mum do share quite a lot of reading taste. However, we do have differing opinions on things as well. So I don't feel like it was just because we love and hate the same things that we both collectively did not enjoy this book. It just was bad. Like, my mum's not even giving it a rating. That's how bad she thought it was. At least I've been a little bit kinder and gave it a 2. In all honesty, this probably, in normal circumstances, would have been a DNF for me. I am not shy about DNFing books, and had it not been for the fact that it was a sequel to The House in the Cerulean Sea, this would have been a DNF. I reached the 50% mark and I skim read the last half of the book because I just wanted to be done with it. It was a painful read. So one of the things that I loved about The House in the Cerulean Sea was that it had some beautiful, important messages throughout the book. However, you never felt like you were being preached at. It mastered the art of show don't tell perfectly, exquisitely. I don't know what happened in those 4 years for TJ Klune's writing style to change so much, but this Somewhere Beyond the Sea was 400 and I don't know how many pages of pure ramming the message down your throat every other paragraph. And it got boring very quickly. Like, I don't know how many times he could write the same message in those 400 pages, like, we're all there with you, TJ, we're all on board with it, we don't need it shoving down us throats all the time. The characters that I loved from the first book, I hated pretty much in this book. The only one that didn't really change for me was Chauncey. Lucy was alright in the second book, but I don't know, I just still wasn't... For me, the first book, Lucy, is one of the best characters that I have read in a long time. Wasn't getting that feeling in this book, and I don't know if it's just because I was hating the story so much. Sal was one of the most irritating characters that I've ever come across. And like, okay, he didn't speak all that much in the first book, but wow did he make up for it in this one. And then there was a new character in this second book, David. I actually I'm gonna really expose myself for how harsh I'm being here, but I actually messaged my mum and said, I can't get on board with David, like, he is a child that would really wind me up. And my mum wholeheartedly agreed. I should point out, I spent 10 years working in education, so I know an annoying child when I meet one, and David was definitely an annoying child. He was supposed to be the new character I'm assuming that you felt very bad for, very sorry for, and I just could not care less. Like, honestly, I was so relieved when I got to the end, but so bitterly disappointed in it. And now I just need to try and push everything about Somewhere Beyond the Sea out of my mind so it doesn't taint the house in the Cerulean Sea for me. Like, I'm just going to pretend this second book does not exist, because in all honesty, the house in the Cerulean Sea ended at a point where it didn't really need a sequel. And I wholeheartedly believe that TJ Klune, when he finished The House in the Cerulean Sea, had no intention of writing a sequel. It didn't need one. However, because The House in the Cerulean Sea has been so popular, I think TJ saw a little moment there and he was like, do you know what, I'm going to cash in on that. Great for you if you're going to write a good book, but this was not it. So yeah, for me, I am going to pretend Somewhere Beyond the Sea does not exist and the story just ended where House in the Cerulean Sea ended, because that was perfection. This was not. And in all honesty, it's very, very rare that I will slate a book, mainly because I DNF something if I'm not enjoying it. But secondly, because we all have different reading tastes, and I know there will be people out there that do love Somewhere Beyond the Sea just as much as they loved The House in the Cerulean Sea. However, I am so frustrated with it that I just had to come and have a chat about it and bash it basically, because honestly, biggest disappointment of 2024. So yeah. Might be a little bit harsh, but I just could not get on board with it, and I just really, really wish it had been something completely different. Like, it didn't need the preachiness. Everyone was there on board with the message that the book was trying to give. That's why everyone loved the first one so much. It did not need ramming down your throat like it was. That being said, I'd love to know if you've read either of these books and what you thought of them. Like, it does not matter if you loved them both or if you hated them both. I'm just really interested to know what you thought of these, so leave me a comment below and let me know, and I will see you guys next time.